at one point you're so close to winning Wimbledon. You are in the semifinals, leading 2-1, chasing some lob, and then I twisted my ankle and felt on my hand, broke my hand there.
Hello, everyone. We are excited to have Nenad Zimonjić, world champion, with us today. One of the best double tennis players in the world, former number one, a person that won 8 Grand Slam titles, 54 ATP tournaments with 16 different partners, a person that won world champion with Serbian Davis Cup and worked with one of the best and coached one of the best tennis players in the world. So excited to have him today on our podcast. Nenad, for those people that don't know you, or don't follow you closely, can you please talk to us about your journey from an unknown kid in Serbia? They became one of the best men's double tennis players in the world, and tell us about the journey.
First of all, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for your invitation. As you know, back in Serbia, the two most popular sports were basketball and football.
Yes.
So tennis was never any sport that was even on the map there. Very few people played. It was by coincidence that I started to play tennis. And when I was 7-8 years old, I had a chance to do many different sports. I started in Red Star Club. Became
same as me. I was a Red Star Club kid.
Unbelievable. So I became first champion of the club in my age, but then it was under 12s. I was the best player in Yugoslavia, because before, that's where I grew up in Yugoslavia. Later on, I was the champion under 16s, 18s, senior champion in singles, doubles, mixed doubles multiple times.
Wow.
So I won it all, and I was one of the best juniors in the world in my age. But unfortunately, because we had war that happened and sanctions, I was not allowed to compete, represent my country. So I had a lot of setbacks. But going back to everything that you said, all the achievements, it's like a miracle how I managed to achieve all that, knowing that basically no one from Yugoslavia 2 years older than me or younger than me, nobody really made it. So that's something that I'm really proud of.
Thank you, and we're going to get into all the things and all the stuff you overcame to become the person you are today. But I also want to tell you that what a great event we had with you on Friday, and to tell our listeners, we had a WestPac University, the event that 250 people came in, and you were our special guest speaker, and people walked away so inspired, empowered, and motivated after listening to you, and your presentation was amazing. And I strongly recommend, all the corporations and the companies of our size to have you, because you talked a lot about alignment and how you played in the individual sport, but also how you managed to play with so many different partners, and how you were flexible and adjustable, and how you were able to win with so many different personalities. And in our business, in any company, people work together, and just kind of having that ability to do that was absolutely amazing. And thank you for coming and doing that for us. And like I said, strongly recommend everybody to have you speak if they want to align and improve their culture and talk about how sports translate into the business. Tell us a little bit about what are you doing today, these days, after you obviously finished playing your long career, and one of the things is obviously corporate speaking. You did that for us, but what else do you do these days?
Thank you so much for all this info and input. It's great to hear the feedback from your.
Oh, people will line up. I mean, everybody wanted to talk to you afterwards,
yes.
And some people knew you, some people didn't, but everybody walk away picking up something from you, and you're just a big experience in life in general.
I'm glad that was the case. Like you said, many people came after. They wanted to talk to me and said how big of an impact that was.
Yes, it was big
that they could relate to certain things, but then also, like you said, to inspire them to even work harder on themselves
Yeah,
to become
and
better version.
absolutely. And I think the stuff that really people got from it, in addition to how to work with other people and being a successful teammate in a business organization like WestPac, it's also the grit, what you had to overcome. You know, you losing sponsorship in the 90s, the war time you went through, you going to the Olympic Games and paying for your own ticket, I think in Sydney in 2000. Winning the Wimbledon, we're going to get deeper into that, but winning the Wimbledon with the broken hand, then later in your career having the double hip replacement surgery, and then still continuing to play, just kind of people walked away really empowered and inspired with that, you know.
Thank you. Like I said, we covered now quite a lot, and that was the idea, you know, to come here to inspire people, to actually show them that there is something bigger than you always. Yes. For me, there was playing for the team, playing for the national team, representing your country, but also inspiring and my partners, but also making them play at their best, being at the best versions of themselves. So that's the ability that I had, and I'm glad it translated here when we had that panel with you, which was amazing, and I could see that people could relate to this.
Nenad, I have to ask you this: how did you win Wimbledon with a broken hand? I mean, that story is so inspiring.
Oh, it was actually amazing. What happened at one point? You are so close to winning Wimbledon. You are in the semifinals, leading 2-1. Chasing some lob, you know, and then I twisted my ankle. The grass was wet. It was towards the end of the day, and felt on my hand and whole body weight.
Wow!
And broke my hand there. Wow. You know, luckily, a couple of points later, we had to stop the match, and because of the darkness. And next day, I found out that my hand was broken. You know, at the point when it happened, I was like, please, you know, first it was the thought, hey, what needs to happen for me to win this Wimbledon finally, you know? And then the second was, hey, please be this way that I can actually continue somehow. So going to the hospital, finding out the next day from the doctor that we need to put a cast, that it's broken, you know, again, you think, oh, it's over. Yeah. That's the first thought. And then you're like, okay, what do I have right now? I have the opportunity because I play with one hand, you know, maybe I can figure out the way to play. So my mind starts working. And I said, can you come to the doctor? Can you come to Wimbledon with that machine that cuts the cast, you know, so we can see, experiment while I'm warming up. So to cut long story short, you know, found a way, with some bracelet that I played with. And now you're going on the court. Now you're limited. You know, now you have a partner, my partner Daniel Nestor, who is worrying about me, who is so stressed about the whole thing. And somehow we win that semifinals match in the 5 sets. During the night, I'm sleeping on my bed, back, you know, hand is isolated a little bit, and then it gets swollen, so I have to wake up every 2-3 hours to ice it, to cool it down. And it was crazy, and at the end to win the tournament, the biggest tournament in our sport, Wimbledon, to become a Wimbledon champion, and to share that, you know, there with your team, with your family. I mean, it was amazing, and that year turned to be the best year of my career. We won the Masters at the end of the year in the finals, beating Bryans for that #1 spot. Few weeks later, I became a father. You know, the Luna and Leon were born. So it was just amazing story. And what I would say, it happens to a lot of us that we come to the point where we are really close to achieving our goal, and then something happens, and that's the time when you should not give up. You should look.
You gotta stay being locked in, right?
Exactly.
Talk to us about that. How do you stay locked in at those times?
I could easily say, oh, I mean, there's no way I can win it. There's no way I can play with this. But for me, it was like, okay, what's positive about it? What can I figure out? You know, how can I find a solution to play, you know, with this, in these circumstances? You know, so for me, for example, that broken hand actually improved my ball toss. Later on, I was serving much better because of that. then I learned how important was non-dominant hand when you're actually playing, but then also focusing on right things, but sometimes even thinking more ahead and guessing. Even at times I had to guess what the opponent is going to do.
So you're more focused, right? Than
Way more focused, and it was actually amazing when you think about it. At the end, when I was holding the trophy, I could not hold it properly. It's like, because that's how much painful it was. But what I can say, I couldn't take enough anti-inflammatories, because if they give you a lot, then you're slow with your reactions. So that's not good for my tennis. So I had to take a small dosage. But then I was seeing those stars during the match plenty of times. So
wow.
So it was really an amazing story, and still I'm the only one that actually won Wimbledon with a broken hand.
That's a
when
great
you
story.
say it sounds crazy. And you did ask me what I'm doing nowadays. So I'm in sports. I'm still really involved in tennis, working as a mentor, as a consultant to existing teams. Which is you have a player on the top, and you have coaches on one side, and then parents on the other side. So having them aligned, understanding the process, helping them out, whether it's through the problems that they have, or through communications and understanding once they are doing something wrong, to get them on the right path. And I think it's very, very important as a prevention. Not to get injured, not to over push, or make some wrong decisions that will cost you a lot in the future. Not just as an athlete, but also as a human being. That can have a big problems in your future if you don't do the things correctly. And I can say that I kind of got everything together, because at one point I was the player, I was the son, I was also a coach, but now I'm also a parent. So I got the whole picture. Plus I was the Davis Cup captain.
You were a leader.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I always was leading with an example. I never asked anybody to do something that I wasn't doing. I was the one always showing everybody what is possible, how they can become better, and that inspired everybody on the team. And I would highly recommend that if you have a possibility to invest in yourself, to find some experts, regardless what your profession is, to learn from the best, because there is a reason why they are there, why they succeeded, but not just succeeded, 1 year or 2 years, but they were consistently making it on the highest level, which was the case with me. For over 10 years, 16 years, I was at the top of tennis. Davis Cup was one of the things, the results that we were making, not just as a player, but also as a playing captain, later as a captain, becoming world champions, but also playing with the different partners, with the 5 different partners. I finished the year in the top 8, like you mentioned, winning with the 16 different partners. So it's different personalities, and also I was adjusting quite well. So I wasn't playing only one side. I was playing both sides, playing with men, with women. So that's quite unique.
Yes, very unique. So you're doing a mentorship and coaching for the teams. What else do you do?
Exactly. This was a perfect example what we did here a couple of days ago, which is public speaking the companies, helping them to inspire and their colleagues and workers and the whole teams, the how they can work together, how they can be even
putting it all together.
Exactly. Having the same goal, being aligned, but also working with my son, who is also a tennis player, being there for my family. That's also something that I'm really proud of. That I can say.
You spend a lot of time with him now, with Leon, and you guys are really trying to get to the next level.
Yes. He is following my steps.
Yes, that's great.
But I always say he is making his own journey. Everybody's unique. So that's something that we all have to understand. You don't have to be copy of anybody. That's something that I was doing. I was implementing something that I liked from other players or other people, or especially when you travel around the world, you can learn from each nation or culture or from you can become better. And I tried to implement everything that I liked.
And you worked on yourself so much. I mean, you worked on yourself. Can you talk to us about what did you do? Why did you do it? And you know, I always talk about, you know, a lot of times people, what you learn after you know it all, it's what matters. You know, and a lot of times people stop learning and working on themselves. And this whole podcast is also to help ex-athletes, current athletes, you know, prosper in life even after the career. And we're learning from people like you and some other folks that came on the podcast. But what was inside of you to keep pushing you to get better?
I mean, it was, like you said, when you think you know it all and then somebody comes and opens up some door that you see completely different world out there. This is what happened to me when I met Robert Seguso.
Yes.
I was 19 years old and I thought I knew quite a lot about tennis, but then I actually saw how much I had no clue. Yeah. You know, in my case was not how to play on hard courts, how to play and learn to play transition game, how to make the good shot selections, many different things, and working on my technique. So he helped me a lot. He was somebody that was my mentor, like my older brother. We're still in a good relationship. And I would say that helped me a lot. That's why I highly recommend, if you have somebody that was successful in something that you want to achieve, you should go there. You should pick their brain. You should learn from them. Even, you know, if something costs a lot, I always say it's not that you don't pay for an hour. You pay for the value that somebody can bring in that hour.
I would even say somebody can create for you.
Exactly,
right?
Exactly. Because if you don't learn these skills, you know, some people will never make it. It's very difficult to make it on your own. You know, so what I did even though I was struggling and I had many issues and I was traveling by myself for 7 years on the tour, you know, I tried to learn from the other coaches. I was very social. That was the only way, you know, because I needed to find somebody to practice with. I needed to talk to the coaches, talk to the players. Don't be afraid to ask. What's the worst thing they're going to say? No, I don't want to practice. So I end up practicing with the top players in the world, you know, and to be among those guys, you know, that's how you get to the different level, because then you can see, you know, what's actually missing. What are the things that I need to work on to improve, to be able to compete against these guys.
And then adapt to yourself.
Exactly. So my ticket from Robert Seguso, it wasn't just that he taught me the skills, but he introduced me to people, you know, that helped me. One of them was Bob Brett, who was his former coach. Yeah. And while he was on the tour, you know, I was sitting next to him, learning from him while he was coaching top players like Ivan Išević, Andrej Medvedev, Kiefer, Ancic, Cilic. You know, so I practiced with these guys. I was talking to Bob, discussing about the matches, and he's somebody that is really well known, one of the best coaches who learned from probably the legend of our sport, Harry Hoffman, who was the coach of all the Aussie legends that made it to the top Grand Slam champions. Next thing you know from Robert was that he introduced me to Andre Agassi and Brett Gilbert. Yes. Had my first practice with them in 2001 at the Fisher Island in Miami. Yeah. You know, what an opportunity, you know, to practice with somebody that you were watching on TV, idolizing, you know, admiring.
And then you beating Andre Agassi, yeah?
Yeah, in that practice, in that first practice, I won the first set. I ended up losing the second set. But later on, like as you mentioned, 5 years from, actually 4 years after that, in 2004, I played against him in the official match right before French Open. It was the tournament in St. Pölten in Austria, playing against legend of our sport, somebody that won Grand Slams on 4 different surfaces, winning gold medal, but also Davis Cup champion, amazing player. And I won against him in singles, which was my biggest win in my career.
And he changed a lot of, I think he was the first player that won on all 4 surfaces, right? I mean, he was the one who kind of started changing and paving the way for all the champions.
Exactly. All those champions, they have something in common, because they introduce to tennis something that was not the case before. Andre was, for example, taking the ball so early, but hitting hard from both forehand and backhand side, and then also winning on all surfaces. So
And then everybody else after that kind of try to pave their way.
Everybody brought something else to the game from those legends of sport, but Andre was made a significant role.
And I, it's well documented. You worked with a legend of our sport and the best player ever, Novak Djokovic. You work with him on several occasions. Can you talk about that and just how that experience was working with Novak and helping him?
Novak mentioned a couple of times that I was his mentor on and off the court, like I was also like his brother. And what I was doing, because I'm still 11 years older than him, everything that I was going through, he was going through. So he could relate, he could use my experience for his journey. And whenever he was in trouble, he knew that he could call me and ask me for advice and to help him. And it happened a couple of times during his career. One of those times was Wimbledon 2022, when the team was struggling and when Goran Ivanišević, who is my really good friend, was working with him as a coach. And he also told me that Novak is under a lot of tension because he got deported that year from Australia. Then losing in the quarters at the French, knowing that he's not going to be able to play at the US Open because of vaccine situation. Then there was very important part of his career, because if he didn't win that year Wimbledon, who knows what would happen. And it came at the right time, and there, I got big thank you from the whole team. They understood how much I benefited, being there with them. From the first practice, I had a long conversation before the practice with Novak, and then Goran, after the practice, he told me that he's a different guy. What happened? It's like a miracle. And he said, but tomorrow he's going to be crazy again. I said, don't worry, everything is going to be all right. So I had another conversation, and slowly, his calmness and the way he was playing, he was improving, not just what we talked about, but also some inputs during the matches, during the practices that helped him a lot. I know Novak since he was 12 and a half years old. I was sitting on his, as a Davis Cup captain for him. That's a unique opportunity that very few people had.
Yeah, to be around him,
Exactly, and he never lost a match when I was his captain. So when you have somebody like him, the guy with the big ego, such a champion, and when he sits down, you have to think really quickly. You have to know what to tell him, how to tell him. Is it something technical? Is it something technical?
Right. Because he knows so much about tennis. Like being his coach, I can imagine the challenge being his coach.
Exactly, and now you can see that there is a lot of frustration towards his team, but with me, he never had that. And why we never had that? Because I could understand what he is going through. I can see it, I could feel it, but also I had the knowledge to tell him what he needed to do without him even asking. And then he is the guy that it's incredible applying what you tell him. And that's why we never had this issue.
That's why he's the best, because when you can take this and then apply it to your game.
He was open-minded to learn, to improve, and that's what he did during his career.
Think about if he's that open-minded, how everybody else needs to follow those footsteps and wanted to work on themselves. And I think he's one of the guys that constantly works on himself. Even now, 24 titles later, he's trying to be the best version of himself. Very inspiring.
Exactly.
And I wanted to ask you this question. Me and you played a little bit yesterday, and I tennis, for people don't know, tennis was my first love. I played when I was in Bosna Tennis Club in Bosnia, in Sarajevo. I was 8 years old and started playing tennis, and I obviously stopped at 10 years old and then started basketball. But there's one fascinating thing about you being knowing the tennis. You can help in matter of 40 minutes, 45 minutes we were hitting, you kind of told me you got to relax the hand. And as I relaxed the hand, I was hitting better. How can you help people? How do you work with these people that are younger tennis players? They could be superstars, or even you can see deficiencies in game of me, and I'm a recreational kind of a guy. And then you work with the top players. Like, how do you see things that is not seen with the I would say with the naked eye,
I lived tennis for over 40 years.
And by the way, you were
You
working
know,
with Andrea Jakovljevic, who is also
Yes.
hopefully one future star. We hope she's obviously a daughter of our good friends, Alex and Dada, and you spent time with her, and on in a matter of 1 hour, you kind of you were able to help and make an impact, and we hope she's going to be the future champion. How can you see that for the things that is not seen?
I mean, I've been in this sport since I was 7, so over 40 years, and I'm somebody that was really addicted to tennis. Not just I didn't love it, I was addicted to it. And I always wanted to learn, wanted to improve, paying attention to the details. But later on becoming, the best version of myself that I could be, technically, tactically, mentally, all that helped me. Everything that I overcame during my career and the issues that I had with the hips and restrictions, so made me who I am today. So now I can help really anybody, like you mentioned, somebody who is 8 years old, that what I had in the past couple of years, all the way through somebody recreational player, but
Or to a young star like Andrea.
young star like Andrea, or somebody at the highest possible level like Novak.
Yes.
So that's what I can see. I can see the vision. I can see something that what's going to happen in the future from 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and if you don't change certain things, you're going to go slowly towards the other direction where you're not supposed to go. So if you are dedicated, if you're working hard, I don't care how hard you're working. If you're not doing the right thing, if you're going east and you want to go west, you're never going to get there. So that's something that I can help, but also understanding, what are the right steps to change something. A lot of people can see that something is wrong. That, this guy doesn't have good serve, or he's missing forehands or backhands, doesn't know how to volley. But what do I need to do to improve that? What are the steps? Sometimes it can be a mental problem, so that's where my expertise come in. And that's why you could see even with yourself how quickly, I had the impact on you and to change. And then what I teach also is that you have to feel it yourself. And you have to understand what I'm teaching you. So I have to break it down and make it very simple. And I agree there 100% with what Einstein said. If you cannot explain something to a 7-year-old, you don't know it that well.
That's right. You cannot bring the concept, complex concept, and make it simple.
So my goal is to help somebody to achieve their dream, their goals. There is obviously a gap where they are right now, where they want to go. So that bridge, I'm helping them to get there as quick as possible. And that also makes me really fulfilled, happy to see other people, to
making
see, for
difference.
example, exactly. So depending which age it is, somebody like Andrea, she's 14 years old. If you see her smile, if you see that she's excited, that's a good sign.
Yes.
For you, somebody that came on the court after so many years, I could see that you used to play, So now
problems, a lot of problems.
So now my goal is to get you back here, to the tennis court, to enjoy it again. That you are like, oh, this feels great, and then you can continue to play that until you're 70. To some professional, it's Now I have a extra tool. I have a new skill that can help me win.
Propel me to the next level,
Exactly, and maybe win more consistently, or maybe help me to beat some high quality players. And as a result of that I worked on myself and I improved my game. That's what gave me the better results. So that's what.
I think, Nenad, that just having consultant and people on the outside. Even you coming into WestPac last week, a lot of things you talked about, how to work in teams and how to provide leadership. And it was a different kind of a voice where people respond differently. I wanted to ask you some questions about, which was obviously very impactful for us. And that was, how did you, in your career, won 54 tournaments with 16 different partners? I think beat Bryan Brothers 10 times. How were you able?
I beat them with 10 different partners, we played more than 50 times.
With 10 different partners.
Yes.
Thank you for correcting me. I studied you, but I guess I wasn't studying you good enough. how were you able to adapt to different teams? And I'm also talking for all of these maybe people that are listening, the companies that are having trouble with adapting their teams or having their vision, getting aligned and empowering their field force and company moving in the one direction. How were you able to be successful with so many different partners? What was the process? And how did you guys move together? Because it wasn't milk and honey every single time.
No, definitely not.
So can you talk about that?
So first step is you have to be open-minded. You have to be okay to be uncomfortable. So maybe
being comfortable, being uncomfortable. Right?
Exactly. So a lot of players would say, "Hey, listen, I'm only playing forehand side. I don't want to change. I'm only playing with this type of player. I don't want to play with somebody that, for example, is not aggressive enough." So I never looked at it that way. I tried to learn from all my partners, and I learned quite a lot from them. So I became a better offensive player. Then I became better in defense, playing with the various partners that was their strength. Then shot selection. Then what you said, I was playing due side, forehand side, or ad side. It didn't matter to me. So I always wanted to learn. I always wanted to improve. But also in order to help my partners, I figure out that it's important to get to know them, to find out what makes them tick, what makes them smile, what makes them inspired, because that's when you do your best. We do spend a lot of time together, like most of the people working in the company. So why don't you make it more enjoyable? When you come to the office, you see that person, you ask them, you take your time. Hey, how are you doing? How is your family? Get to know what's going on. So sometimes I had to help my partners in their private life. Sometimes it could be just conversation. Sometimes they would tell me something. I would listen to them. That was enough. Sometimes they ask for advice. So that helped me understand them. Once they are happy outside of the court, they're gonna perform much better on the court. But then I even go even further, which I did for myself, which was, hey, what about the people that they are responsible for people's lives? Like some surgeons, some pilots, if they are not happy, if they screw up something, if they make one mistake, somebody dies.
Yeah.
So I had to learn that with myself. Once I step on a court, I block everything out, what was going outside, and then I learned to give my best while I'm on the court.
Yeah, that's
Doesn't
great.
matter, is it practicing or is it playing the matches in front of big crowds? So I would say be open-minded. You can learn from everybody, and
don't
keep
take
investing.
personal. You also talk about it. Don't take personal.
Exactly.
It's not personal.
So what you said, at one point the article came in 2013 in
I read
tennis
that. You're the
magazine.
best partner ever. Yeah.
Yes. Why I was the best doubles partner ever. They said not that I was making great results, but I made my partners who were very successful on their own be even more successful. And they made the stats which was amazing for me. And that's something that I'm really proud of, So, and I always
you were not a king; you were a king maker.
Oh. Listen, if if you make it more fun, it's on the highest possible level. Yes, you have partners that maybe you're very professional, you're doing great job, you're not going to have a great connection with them, understanding something outside of the profession, but you accept it like that. With somebody else, you're going to go for a coffee, you're going to go for dinner and stuff like that. So we didn't have that opportunity because we spent a lot of time together traveling. You're not with your family. We go to breakfast together. We're waiting for the matches. We travel together. So you have to understand your partner, and that's the best way to grow together.
Yeah.
So
I love that. And I wanted to just take us maybe to a little bit of a different side of your story. You have known people in WestPac. You knew several WestPac advisors, Alex and Nick, for a long, long time. You know Vladi as well. You played with him or practiced with him back in the days, Vladi Sasic. But you've known Nick Novakovic and Larisa Korjevic for a while. And I met you several years ago. And as I was getting to know you, there was a couple of things that really, really hit me in a very positive way, and that is, You mentioned holistic person, holistic planning. Your family is very important to you. I think you told me about how much your wife supported you along the way. Can you talk about that side of your career, your life, and how much your family means to you, and how you were able to keep it all together? Because a lot of times, a lot of successful people, successful athletes, unfortunately, a lot of them, maybe don't keep that going the same way after they finish the career for whatever reason. But you did that, and also, I really, when you were talking about your son and how much it means to you working with him and investing your time in him, you can never get those 4 or 5 years back, right?
Exactly.
You are now with them. Can you talk a little about that and how that made an impact on you? Because everybody who's listening, I think, your values and who you are as a person, I think, and how you think about those things outside of the sport, I think it's very important.
I mean, there are two things, two decisions, I would say, that they're very, very important in your life: is the partner you choose and the profession that you choose as well. If you do a good job at those, your life is going to be really great. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be really great. And I was really lucky to meet my wife, Mina, who was my real partner. I look at that, we are as a team.
Yeah.
So everything is a team. The team is your family. First it starts with your parents, with your siblings. I was always very connected to my family, but then you pick and choose later on. And what I always like to do is to say that what helped me a lot, it's good communication. Being ready to look somebody in the eye and tell them, what you really mean, and ask exactly the same from my partner, Mina, in this case, to say, hey, tell me honestly, be brutally honest with me, because that's the only way he can help me. So there were a lot of times when I was very, very focused, like I was addicted. Like I said, I'm like a fanatic when it comes to tennis, when it comes to coaching. And but then I had to learn, hey, let's relax a little bit, let's play some games, let's have fun, let's, so that changed. But then it came to the point where, for example, because of the problems that I had with my hips, the pain was 24/7. I had a conversation with my wife, and where she said, do you want your kids to remember you this way, that you're always in the bad mood, you're not smiling, you're not that kind of a person? And she thought that I was like that because maybe I wasn't at that time number one in the world, that I was number 7 or 11, whatever the ranking was. But I never complained in a way, hey, I have a lot of pain and this is the reason why I'm like this. No, I was like, okay, this hit me so hard. I'm not that kind of a person. I'm the guy that likes to have fun, that I like to socialize with the people. So I was like, okay, I have to change something. So working on your mindset, what I can do, even though it hurts, I don't want to bother my family with that because they're going to be upset. So, and I want to be that best partner that I could be for my wife, but also the best father I can be for my kids. So when you have something like a strong why, the reason, to be better version of yourself, that's what it's pushing you, it's motivating you to work. Sometimes when you don't feel like getting up from the bed, you're like, who I need to be on my A game, who needs me the most? So that could be extended family, could be some friend, could be your partner, could be your kids. You never know, could be your parents. Many people have different reasons. So I would say it was very important for me also to know that when I'm on the tour, when I'm playing, when I'm practicing, I can really rely on my wife, that I know that she will take care of the kids, that she will take care of our home, and she knows that whenever she is in trouble, she can call me and figure things out, how we can solve some problem together. But, at the same time, it made me even more professional. So the time that I was not spending with my family, I said,
you were 100% on.
Hey, listen, I have to be even more productive. I have to be even, to grow even faster, be better. Why? Because then I have more to give to my family. I'm not wasting time that I'm not with them. So then what we also did during my career, which is not the case with many athletes, We traveled a lot. We have twins, so it's not easy.
I like that.
Luna and
that was
Leon.
great.
So, but we wanted to. It wasn't just traveling. We wanted to have this home environment, home feeling, which is like where is your home, where your family is.
Yeah.
So for us, it was at some stages it was on the road, but then we would rent a house or an apartment, be together. So when you finish the practice or when you finish your profession, whatever you're doing, when you come back home, you forget everything when you see your kids. So sometimes they help you to go through some tough times that you had at home. I mean, at the office or at your work, and you have to learn. And this is something that I was struggling with, and I'm sure a lot of people listening. When you get back from your work and you go back home, you're still thinking in your head about which calls I need to make, what I need to organize, this and that, and you're not present there with your family. So I learned also later, I got this directly from my wife. Hey, you're not here. What are you doing? You're not
present. You're not being present when you're in the home. Yeah.
Exactly. So for me, there was like, okay, thank you so much, for telling me this. And then I was more present, doesn't matter if it's 10 minutes, if it's a few hours, if it's few days, if it's whatever time you have, be present when you're there. When you're in your office, be present there. When you're having fun, relax. Don't think about anything else. When you're with your family, just be there.
Be with your family. Be present when you're there. No, I think that's very important, and those values. I think in a lot of podcasts you hear different things and different tips, but I think the values that I think are important is those family values, where a lot of people sometimes get lost a little bit on priorities and what's really important, and we always think about that family is the most important, and if it is, what are we all doing about it? And you have done a lot of things. You were taking your family with you. I think even at some point in time you were telling me how you didn't even take some of the gigs and jobs because you didn't want to be separate from them as much. And then last night you told me, I thought it was really powerful. Maybe you can speak to that, why you're coaching your son now and how you can never get those couple of years back. Maybe you can mention why is that important to you?
Exactly. I mean, I say I have a huge privilege. I know it's not the case with many people that I can say, listen, I'm just going to be now with my family. I'm going to dedicate not just to my son, but also daughter Luna, to be there with them, to help them out. Because what I believe you can give to your kids, it's not money, it's not the presents, it's you being there with them, you teaching them something you didn't know when you were their age, something that nobody can take away from them. Yeah. It's the knowledge, it's the experience, it's the skills, it's how you think and what kind of person you are. They learn quite a lot by just looking at you. So it's your relationship with your wife, your relationship with your friends, but also they can see how you are handling some tough situations. So I believe you should not hide anything from your kids. You should be open. You should tell them how it is, but also show them how to overcome those obstacles, so that's huge. And for me, it would be like ideal, I never forced my son to play tennis. Yeah. I was teaching both of them how to, play, doesn't matter, different sports. So they know, swimming, skiing, bike, whatever it is, different sports. But then Leon chose tennis. And it was never me telling him, let's go play tennis, let's go to the tournament. He always asked me, Daddy, can I come with you? Can I come with you? So he was observing, watching, waiting for his time, then coming in to play. That's how we grew up, watching older players or older kids playing, waiting for your time. And that's how we all fell in love with something, that sport or whatever we did. So now it was, hey, I can help my son, to achieve maybe something that I didn't achieve. Because for me, yes, I achieved quite a lot, but I don't think I reached my highest potential in singles because of various reasons. But now it's like, now you see from the parent perspective, this is not easy. It's very emotional. Now you have to learn how to control your emotions, kid, your own. You want to give them everything, but now you have to pace yourself. So what I learned then, I need to study even more. So that's why I
worked on yourself.
Worked on myself too. I also finished. I have also this certificate that I'm high performance coaching. that also I did a lot of things from the parenting, from the methodology, from the psychology as well. That's something that I enjoyed also since I was 17 years old. So I worked on myself. Why? Again, big reason to help my son, to have not to have this conflict, to be able to coach him as well, to be his mentor, but also to be his father, which is more important to me. And then obviously Leon has his own coach, but I'm there, I'm involved. We speak a lot. We have to be aligned. So that's something that nobody can take away from us.
And is your belief that you should guide your kid towards a different sport? This is a general question. Or do you think the kid should figure it out on its own? Or do you think it should be the combination of both?
I think you should introduce them to different things. I think the mistake now is people tend to specialize really early age what somebody should do. And that can vary, that can change. In my case, I was lucky. I fell in love with tennis. It was amazing. But at the same time, with other kids, I played football. I played soccer back home. So basketball, handball, volleyball. We did many different things. Then with some friends, I went to their practices, to their clubs, and people would tell me, hey, can you stay and play for our club, practice basketball or football or water polo or even athletics? But I said, no, I like tennis. But then when I was struggling, also my parents came to me and they said, there are other things that you can do. You're really good at school. Why don't you do that? I said, no. This is something that I love to do. I have to figure out how can I overcome certain problems that I had. Yeah. And that's when you realize how much you love something. It's like when you get injured, you miss it a lot. You miss being on the court. You miss competing. And that showed me actually how much I love this sport. And even nowadays, when I step on the court, I love it. I know it's not the case with the many athletes,
yes,
but that's why I consider myself very lucky. And this is what I wish for my kids, to find something that they are passionate about, to teach them how to be open-minded, to have that growth mentality, to continue to work on yourself. I'm working on myself even today.
Yeah.
I'm still learning. I'm still improving on various things.
And you mentioned passionate. I think it's, I wanted to ask you, can you be passionate on something that you're not good at? Like you are a great tennis player. That's why you also develop the passion. But can you develop the passion if you're not good at something?
Listen, how many people that they are really successful in business or something, and they're extremely passionate about some sport that they just, so you find whatever stage
hobbies
you are,
things,
something that makes you happy, So why not? You can learn. What I would say again, find an expert.
Yeah.
That's what's important. Somebody that can teach you, to be better. Then more you grow, more satisfied you're gonna be, and more you're gonna enjoy. Yeah. So it didn't come right away that I was passionate right away
so
with
you developed
tennis.
That
so there were
strengths.
Exactly. So by overcoming certain things, by improving, it was the same thing. Like I say, first you have to be the best in your club, then in the city, then in your country.
And the passion grows,
and then you see where are you compared to the other players in the world. So then you're like, you can either say, oh, this is too difficult, there's no way I can do this, or you can say, hey, listen, what do I need to improve to get on that level?
Yeah.
Oh, this is possible, so let me work on that. So
and I wanted to ask you, you talked about the best athletes, and we talked about what's important for them. In basketball, everybody can jump, everybody can run, even in the professional NBA league. In tennis, everybody can hit hard. In soccer, the same. But there's only, one Kobe and Michael Jordan, one Novak, one Messi or Ronaldo. Do you think it's about the mindset? And what is your experience? What makes that go? What is the big difference between that? Is it the mindset? Is it physical characteristics? What would you say? You're working with different kind of people and playing against them, and you developing yourself at that high level. What do you think what makes the difference?
You mentioned Michael Jordan. He was my idol. He was something that I was aspiring to
Why?
Be exactly what he did. He always wanted to improve. And whenever people said, hey, you cannot do this, you're not good defender, he proved them. He was not answering. He did it.
He did the work.
He did the work. Then you had Detroit, for example. They were really hard on him, playing hard defense.
They beat him in 89.
So he didn't look for excuses. He was like, what do I need to do to beat this guy. So he figured I have to be stronger. I have to be more resilient. When they said you're not good defensive player,
He became
then he was the top 5 at the end of the year. But then they were also giving him shit because he didn't win, anything. And I relate to him quite a lot because it took me really long time to win my first Grand Slam. And for him it's exactly the same thing. So he didn't choose to, hey, I'm going to switch to the other club and I will go there
like
where the
people do today.
Exactly. So he stayed there, he worked, there were some things that he even didn't like. When you think of Phil Jackson coming in and now teaching triangle, what is this? You're now not making me now the star that I am. I want to win. And then when he was resilient towards that. He didn't want to do it actually. And then when he realized, oh, this is working, now I'm figuring out that I'm making everybody around me be even better. And if I can do that, then we grow as a team. Then some situations where I'm not at my best, the other players can do it. So that's what was very inspiring to me, but also the image that he had off the court. So for in my case, it was also because from the media perspective and also the country going through the war, when you thought about Serbia, first of all, people had no idea where it was, but then we were on the map like the worst people possible. So my goal was not to tell people, hey, we're not like this, or my goal was, I will show you with my example. I can be a gentleman. I can be a very successful. I can be a tough guy on the court, but I can also be a fair play. And really well respected. So those are the things that are important. So I would say it's a holistic approach. There are so many things that you can work on yourself, and there is never end. Because at one point, if you really ask really high quality questions, where I can improve, what are the areas? Maybe you're unbelievable as an athlete, but maybe privately you're not good. So let me work on that, so.
And I want to take us now to the days when you decided, obviously you had a double hip replacement surgery. You had an amazing effort to continue to play, which was so inspirational. But you decided to end your career. And you played into your 40s, which is very, very important. I've spoken with the other ex-athletes, not maybe at your level, but I've also seen some at the very high level. And a lot of people go through a hard time. And this podcast is about transitioning either from the professional sport, we're talking to the ex-athletes, into the business or other things, or people from college athletes trying to, be the best version of themselves after they finish playing sports. Did you have any trouble going through that transition? What were the troubles? I've heard some people went through the depression, went through a hard time, but the family picked them up. How was that transition for you? And did you stay in tennis because you were a fanatic? You just loved it so much you couldn't get away from it. What was that point in time for you?
You're right. I played really at the late stages. I had a really successful career all the way through 42.
Yeah.
Then I had this
amazing.
Amazing. I was thinking when I was, in my 20s that at 30, 31, I'm going to stop because that was the case. I never thought that. Then, like you said, struggles, 2009, they told me that I have big problems with my hips because one day I woke up, couldn't lift my leg. That's when we did all those exams. And then all experts said at one point, you will need this total hip replacement surgery. But now if we do this arthroscopy, it can help you 50-50. So I didn't want to risk. Who helped me there? It was another expert, Klaus Eder, who is amazing physio.
Famous physio.
Famous physio for the national team of soccer for Germany over 30 years, Olympic team as well over 30 years. And Davis Cup team also worked with Boris Becker, like unbelievable guy, unbelievable experience. So he was very inspirational in my life, not just that he helped me, but I could see how he goes about everything that he is doing, like all the skills that he had and the way he wanted to help people and also teach others how to become better, So then what happened, I found a way how to prolong my career and to play with the issues that I had, the restrictions that I had with the hips. And then it came to the point where I had to stop, and then do the surgery. But then something else happened. It was the doctor, really famous doctor, Dr. Fulgham in Germany, in Garmisch-Partenkirchen. He told me, when are you thinking about coming back? I said, what do you mean coming back? I'm ready. If you want to do, we can do the surgery tomorrow. And he's like, no, if everything goes well, you can go back to the sport. And I said, you're serious? I had no idea. And that's when I actually even opened up my Instagram account. I was never big on the...
Because you were like, well, what am I going to do now?
No, I was never big on the social media. I wanted to show people what's possible. And that's just to have an idea, hey, listen, now you can go back to the sport that you love. You can be, pain-free. Let me see. How is this going to... What's going to happen? I had nobody to look up to because nobody has ever done something like this. So that's when I started to do, after the rehab, and I followed everything. And then I actually, first of all, right after the surgery, I realized how much pain I was going through. Second of all, after the surgery, both surgeons, Dr. Fulgham and Dr. Berger, they operate in the team when there are two hips at one time procedure. So they came to my room, the second day after the surgery. They were looking at me in a strange way. And then when they said, what are you made of? And I thought maybe they found something inside, that it's not right. And they said that we've never seen something like this. First of all, you had no cartilage, the restrictions that you had, the pain that you were going through. We can only imagine how that felt. Because one thing is to see something on the X-ray or MRI, but once is when you go in. So then it was for me, this is amazing. Again, mindset. We go back to the mindset, like what we are capable of doing. And then, you have to learn again how to walk, how to run. You go back, to doing things, from the scratch. And then that growth and that improvement. But then you hit those struggles now. People think I'm nuts, what I'm doing, why you want to play. Then I don't get really help from the tournaments or opportunities to play. Then COVID starts. Then next thing you know, my son is like, Daddy, why don't you try again? So I want to show him also with my example that, hey, you should try. It doesn't matter what they think. And so I start to do that. Next thing you know, a coach that is working, Marco, that is working with my son, he torn his Achilles tendon. So then I readjust. I go now to work with Leon for 5-6 months, because that's more important to me, not myself, being a father, being also his mentor and a coach. So then I decided to stop. And then we go to these things where you say, what now? You were provider, you felt so good, and then you're actually thinking, hey, I'm not enough, I'm not doing enough. There are two things that are very important, and it's something that we all struggle with, and we ask those questions: am I good enough, or am I loved enough?
Wow. That's powerful.
So for me, it was like, am I providing enough? I'm not having the same income like I used to. And you start doubting yourself, and then you realize it's not everything about the money. Sometimes it's the presence. Sometimes it's being there for your family. Sometimes it's being a better father, better partner, being there as a son, to your parents, so those are the things that for me were, again, what I focused on, what are the goals, and like you said, my kids are in few months, they're going to be 17.
They're going to go to college.
So they might go to the college. So these are the last couple of years that I have to be there.
100%,
Exactly. So then when it comes the good opportunity for me, to work on the highest level with some athletes, that I can help, go all the way, that would be inspiring. But then in the future, the ultimate would be something that, for example, Ben Shelton and Brian Shelton are experiencing, father-son kind of relationship, which is amazing to see.
It's a great vision for you and your family too.
Exactly. So I would recommend, again, it was that conversation with your partner. I was open about it. I was vulnerable about it, to say to my wife, hey, this is what I'm going through. This is what I think. And it was the same kind of decision, for her, having the company for 26 years, being owner and the CEO of the model agency, and being herself like a model, but then later, the business owner. Now to say, hey, maybe it's time that I stop with this. Maybe
That I shut down,
what do you think? Yeah. And I said, listen, this is your calling now.
Yeah.
You should do what your heart says you should do. But I'm there to support. I'm there to understand. So she was the same for me.
Yeah.
Hey, you are benefiting. I mean, you're giving so much more. Don't worry about this. As long as we're healthy, and I have the knowledge. I know that I can make money and I can go out there and work my ass off. I have that mentality, strong mentality. So,
but you also have the family to invest your time in now because you're spending so much time on the tour, and that's what you did.
Exactly. But my advice would be, everything that helped you during your career, your professional career, what made you successful there, use that in whatever you do.
Yeah.
But do speak with an expert. Like you said, for example, Alex and Nick working for your company.
Yeah.
Working
with me and with the clients.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for me, it was, again, being honest, and I said, listen, I have no idea about this, but you are an expert. What should I do?
So you came over with them and they helped you get ahead with your next financial steps.
Exactly. So surround yourself with an expert, surround yourself with the honest people, good people. I know sometimes you're going to get burned, which can happen a lot.
And thank you for being our clients for so many years. Yeah,
it's amazing. I can only have really high recommendations because, again, you feel understood. You feel that you have support. You feel that you can call and ask whenever you have any questions. And there, you guys are experts in what you do.
That's right.
So we are going back to the experts again.
Because you are an expert in your field, playing, coaching, and doing all these things. And it's great also to see you and all the other legends being invited back to Wimbledon. I think last 4 years in a row. I think you were playing with Martina Navratilova, I think last July. Talks about that experience, how special it is to be back at Wimbledon.
That's quite unique opportunity, just knowing that only 24 players get invited, men and women.
Wow.
So 4 years in a row, they've been inviting me, but Wimbledon is our biggest tournament, and they look for everything.
Attention to detail, right?
Exactly. They look at how you behave, how is your family, how you are playing, what kind of person you are. So if you screw up in one of those things, you never get invited again. But then going back there, like for so many years, first time I was there, it was 94. Then since 99, pretty much every year as a player. And then seeing that familiar faces, and then you realize, hey, these guys, they've been working more than 30 years there. Yeah. This guy more than, like 35 or something like that. Then you realize it's actually like a family, a kind of environment. They take care of every little detail. And now, I'm able to share again everything with my family. So I've been going there with my wife, with the kids, then for Leon, it's amazing experience to play on grass there. Yeah. And for us,
as a family, you went as a unit, right?
Exactly. And then to, again, be recognized as a legend of our sport. And it's invitational, but, I'm really lucky and I'm grateful that they've been invited.
It's always good to be on an invitation.
No, amazing. And then again, to play with Martina, she actually asked if she can play with me. She is exceptional. She is a legend of our sport.
She's amazing.
She won the most titles than anybody in our sport altogether. And what she's been doing, it's amazing. And how she impacted everybody in the tennis world.
What a great time we spent together, and I learned so much about you the last couple of days. We spent a lot of time together, and this is a great point. Maybe for me to ask you if there's anything else you would like to share with our listeners, or something that you would like to say that I didn't ask you. I think I asked you a lot of questions today. Yeah, we went deep into some of these, but if there's anything else you would like to say.
I mean, you covered quite a lot. First of all, I want to say it was a great honor, to be here, also to witness what you are doing for your people, for the people working in the company, always growing, always learning things, always giving them opportunity for them to grow, to be better.
Because growth is everything that we worry about, because growth is infinite.
Exactly.
You never put a number. And thank you.
Exactly. And it was nice to see also, not just when you're here in the office, but also to see you outside. That this is what I pay attention to as well. It's how you treat people that you cannot benefit from. And for me that's important. You you have to be kind. You have to act towards people the way that you want them to treat you.
And we work for people. We work for our advisors. We are in their service, and then they work for their clients. It's a servant mentality, and we are very proud of that. And thank you for commenting on that. And again, thank you for really spending and making this event for us special. Thank you for being my guest on this podcast. And listeners, this is what we had for you guys today. Thank you very much, Nenad.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.